The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "In praying, do not babble like the pagans, who think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. This is how you are to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. If you forgive others their transgressions, your heavenly Father will forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, neither will your Father forgive your transgressions." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the first reading where St. Paul has written to the Corinthians, there's just one sentence in there that really struck me. And as I'm hearing that Vicky's going to be going into Lansing today for kind of an intimidating experience of expressing the needs of Catholic Charities and the programs and so on before the diocese. The consultors who are, I guess they're all priests, I think, and they're my brothers, but they also can be sometimes a little pompous and so forth. And the finance council it's just kind of an intimidating experience. So with that, St. Paul is talking to the Corinthians and he's saying, there have been various people that came and preached the gospel to you. And I came and preached, and I didn't even charge you when I was here. I begged from other communities. And so he says, I was supported by other communities in the area. I didn't even charge you. He said, I did not burden anyone, for the brothers who came from Macedonia supplied my needs. And so he's, he kind of talks about that for a minute, but he said, I really am an apostle. And he says one line that it says, did I make a mistake when I humbled myself so that you might be exalted? Because I preached the gospel of God to you without charge. And he's saying, I have been humble on behalf of you Corinthians. And it got me thinking a lot about the role of people in Catholic Charities, whether it's administration or caseworkers and people, giving out things or organizing stuff like clothes and food and the warming shelter and all that, and how we're called to be humble before these people. And it's kind of a tricky thing because we have a lot of power, as in this particular room, all white, middle-class people, at least with some kind of income and some kinds of security that a lot of these folks don't have. To be able to be humble before them as we try to lift them up is really a challenge to do, because sometimes we can, in bad moods, bad moments, and all that kind of stuff, we can use that authority in a way that we really don't want to, but we can be just kind of caught up in sometimes being a little withholding of pouring ourselves out for these people. And I guess just as Vicki has to go to Lansing and go through this thing, and I'm sure she couldn't go and do that to beg for herself. I'm sure she couldn't do that. She can do it for other people that are lowly and in need. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're being humble before these people, and you're trying to lay aside your own needs as best you can to help meet the needs of these folks that come with various kinds of needs. And so she's going to go and beg on behalf of these folks, just as St. Paul went to the Macedonians and said, hey, support me while I go to Corinth and preach and stuff like that. And so, maybe as I was thinking about this, and then I'm looking at the gospel and Jesus saying, well, don't multiply words a lot, but when you want something from God, just make it a very simple thing. And so we'll send you with prayer that when you go there, that just what needs to be said on behalf of these people is said. Because some people come there with a roof that needs to be fixed in their own church, and this need and that need, and they see diocesan stuff going on where they're busy saying, we just can't have money for this stuff, and so on. But we really would if we wanted to make it a priority. And so I guess, I kind of make the homilies a reminder to us to ask. There's a difference between being humble and groveling. It really is, and I'm not, I'm still learning. I'm going to be 70 in about a month, and I'm still learning that mystery of what that is. But beg proudly, and with God's grace to just know what to say and what not to say. And God will guide you. Earlier in the year, as we were going through Pentecost, Jesus says, don't worry about what to say. I realize you do. You have your PowerPoint and you got all that stuff that you have to do in the business world. But ultimately, God will give you, if there's some inkling that comes just at the last moment, well, that's probably the Spirit, I think. So anyway, we'll pray as we're praying for the intentions of all of the client, everything. We'll especially be praying for that process to go in a way that just really, really is very special, and that they hear the specialness of what we're trying to do in Flint. We have gotten a couple of checks that were sent to us at Christ the King, and they weren't big checks, but they were, helpful, well-intentioned. But I've heard from people. I have a friend in Jackson, and I have a friend in Lansing who heard, well, if they'd have taken care of themselves, they wouldn't be, and all that stuff, all the stereotypes about the poor. And so that's part of the humility that comes to us working with the poor. You'll hear that stuff, and, well, if they were this or if they were that, it's always somebody's fault if they aren't a well-to-do, middle-class person. And so it's just to have our spiritual shoes on when we do the begging or the serving of the poor. And there's days, I have good days, and I have days that I wished I had back, where I just didn't give a person very much time, or didn't really hear what they were really saying and stuff. So I just pray for that grace for all of us. And the psalm response was something like, God's works are justice and truth. And so I pray that for us, and justice, truth, and humility, that we all have that as we work with each other, and as we go and ask for money, whether it's the diocese or individual donors, that the heart of the needs of the people will be served by our humbly asking rather than groveling, and also giving them the privilege of helping the poor. That's kind of what we're inviting them to do.